Welcome back to the Explainer. So if you're wrangling columns of data all day, you already know how mind-numbing it can be to manually calculate the middle ground. Well, today, we're going to completely streamline your workflow by mastering an absolute must-have time-saving tool, the average function.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll meet the average function, go over its structure with some guided practice, tackle blanks versus zero values, format our results, and wrap up by avoiding common mistakes.
Section 1. Meet the average function, bridging the gap from manual math to automation.
Think about the old, painful way of doing things. You're calculating a total, counting every single item, and dividing just to get 80. It's tedious, and honestly, it leaves way too much room for human error. But look at the Excel method. You just type equals average, grab your range, and boom, the software instantly gives you that exact same 80.
So what's Excel actually doing behind the scenes? It's calculating the arithmetic mean. That's the technical term. Without you having to spell out two separate steps, Excel looks at the range you selected, automatically adds all the numeric values together to find a total, and then divides that total by the number of numeric values it found. It's just seamless, instant math.
Section 2. Structure and guided practice. Writing and applying your first formula.
All right, let's roll up our sleeves and actually write this. The syntax is surprisingly simple, but understanding the anatomy is absolutely crucial to using it effectively. Let's break it down. Every single formula in Excel starts with the equal sign. That tells the software, hey, we're doing some math now. Next is the function name, average, spelled out completely. Then, open your parentheses. Inside, we have D3:D7. That's our range. And pay attention to that little colon right in the middle. It's a huge deal because it translates to the word through. You're literally telling Excel to average the values from cell D3 through cell D7. Finally, close the parentheses and you're set.
Let's see this in action. Imagine you're tracking your fruit inventory. You've got 50 apples, 20 oranges, 60 bananas, and 40 lemons. To find the average amount of fruit across these four categories, we just apply our new formula right to that continuous block of numbers.
And there's our answer, 42.5. But here's the real magic of Excel. This isn't just a static number. Because we pointed our formula to a range, it's completely dynamic. If you realize you actually had 40 oranges instead of 20, you just type 40 into that cell. Excel instantly recalculates the whole thing, and your average automatically jumps to 47.5. No manual recalculating required.
Let's scale this up to a real-world scenario. Here we've got some student test scores. Anna, Ben, Chai, and Dara. They've all taken 3 tests. Now, we don't just want one massive average. We want a specific average for each individual student. To pull this off, we just enter our average function into the first blank cell for Anna, selecting her 3 scores right across the row. Once you calculate Anna's average, which is an 81.67 by the way, you don't have to retype the formula for Ben, Chai, and Dara. No way. You just copy the formula down the column, and Excel adjusts the rows for you automatically. And guess what? You can do the exact same thing vertically. Drop a class average row at the bottom, average test 1, drag it across, and suddenly you have performance metrics for the entire classroom, including the overall class average of 79.67. It's a total game changer.
Section 3. Blanks versus zero values. This is a crucial data integrity lesson. I need your full attention for this one, because this is usually a massive aha moment for people. It's all about how the software handles missing data. Imagine a student takes test 1 and gets an 80. They ace test 2 with a 90. But on the day of test 3, they're out sick. So the cell for test 3 is left completely blank. If we average those 3 cells, the result is 85. Why? Because to Excel, a blank cell literally means no numeric value exists. It basically pretends that cell isn't even there. It just adds the 80 and the 90 to get 170 and divides by exactly 2 tests.
But here's where it gets really interesting. What happens when that blank isn't an excused absence, but a totally bombed test? The student shows up, but they score an absolute 0 on test 3. We physically type a 0 into that cell.
Ouch! The average plummets to 56.67. Say goodbye to the honor roll. The total is still 170, but because 0 is a recognized numeric value, Excel absolutely includes it in the calculation. It's now dividing 170 by 3 instead of 2. So knowing when to leave a cell blank versus when to enter a 0 is absolutely vital for keeping your data accurate.
Section 4. Formatting your results. making your numbers readable and professional.
Now that our math is solid and we've handled our zero values, we've got to make sure these numbers look professional. By default, an average might spit out a number with like 5 or 6 decimal places, which is just messy. To clean it up, select your average cells, head up to the Home tab, and hit the increase decimal or decrease decimal buttons. You want to match the precision to your data. Test scores, 2 decimal places are perfect. Currency definitely needs a $sign and 2 decimals. Percentages might just need 1 decimal, while whole number quantities, like averaging apples, are best served with 0 decimal places.
The crucial thing to remember here is that formatting is just a visual layer. It's like slapping a fresh coat of paint on a house. Whether you tell Excel to show you 0 decimal places or 5, the exact underlying calculation remains completely intact in the background. Your math is 100% safe.
Section 5. Avoiding common mistakes. Quick troubleshooting for beginners.
Let's wrap this up by arming you against some common beginner traps. Here are 3 rapid-fire errors to watch out for. First, selecting the wrong range. If you mean to average B2 through B5, but you accidentally type B50, your data is going to be wildly skewed. Always visually verify your cells. Second, using sum instead of average. Sum just adds things up, it doesn't divide. Make sure you've typed the right function. And finally, the most dangerous trap of all, accidentally highlighting a total row at the bottom of your data and including it in your average range. That will completely ruin your math. Always exclude your totals from the cells you're averaging.
Okay, let's bring it all together. The average function calculates the arithmetic mean by adding numeric values and dividing by the count. Remember our golden rule? Blank cells are normally ignored, but 0 values are absolutely included in the math. And lastly, formatting only controls what you see on the screen, not the actual background calculation.
So, you've mastered finding the middle ground, but it leaves us with an intriguing puzzle. Once you know the average, how do you easily parse through thousands of rows of data to find the absolute smallest and largest values without scrolling forever? Well, that is exactly what we're going to uncover in our next explainer on the min and max functions. Thanks so much for exploring Excel with me today, and I'll catch you in the next one.